how's the discount if you work at IKEA? Is it nice?
It's terrible, bro. You don't get a discount.
The man with the plan. We got Bangarang in the building. Bangarang, what's up, bro?
Ding, 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 ding.
Do you
What's
do you do
up?
that a lot when you DJ? Are you hitting the horn?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely one of those guys. And
Really?
yeah, I'll like, but like one of my favorite video games is Mortal Kombat. I mean,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct. So if you listen to any of my radio mixes, I'll hit the horn and then it's like ultra, because when you hit the ultra combo in Killer Instinct, and at
Okay.
the end he's like, anyway, sorry, it's nerd
Oh no, it's
moment.
great. So do you ever get like shit for it? Are people ever just like, yo, stop it? Or and then
So
you
my
just do it like 5 times more?
Well, no, so like I do it more on the radio than I do in the clubs. I've actually been talked to about it though by my program director one time. He was like, "Yo, you gotta chill out. You gotta chill out with the horrors, bro."
So I guess we'll go all the way back to the beginning. So I kind
Okay,
of
for
want to
sure.
hear from you, like, how did you start DJing and where did
Yeah.
you start DJing?
So I started DJing when I moved out here to Utah, which was about 11 years ago. I was in a fraternity and we couldn't afford DJs. And growing up, I was all even like in high school, middle school, when we would have house parties, I was always the guy who like was in charge of music, whatever, blah blah blah. But 2011 came around and I'm kind of doing this, but then I met some guy and he was like, "Yo, have you heard of virtual DJ?" Like I'm one of those guys. I started out on virtual DJ,
Mm-hmm.
no shame. Um, so started out on virtual DJ and then doing these college parties, and then I met some some real DJs. I should say real DJs, like some vets, some guys who were on vinyl and like turntables. I mean vinyls and CDJ, and they were like, "Hey, like you're dope doing what you're doing." By this time, I'd met them. I had a controller and whatnot, right? But they were like, "You're dope at what you're doing, but if you really want to take this to the next level, you have to." Like I would recommend investing in some turntables or some CDJs, because like
Mm-hmm.
once again this controller is cool, but I think any like DJ can agree that like you can't really take that to a club. I mean, like you can, but like all of the big clubs, you kind of got to be able to play what the next person is playing on. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. Would you say now though, like I know you or like me, for example, I'm not rolling up with the
Hmm.
DDJ SR like tucked in, like
Yeah,
right, you know what I'm saying? But like
yeah.
because a lot of clubs now have like the CDJ set up. Does
Hmm.
anywhere that you DJ right now, do they have a turntable set up or is it just CDJ set up?
A few places. So actually, there's this club in Park City called Downstairs. They have a turn. They have two techniques and a S9,
Mm-hmm.
and then my residency Sky SLC. So before I used to not play on turntables because the bass was right below the stage, and this was before Phase, but now like Phase and a S9, and I'm good. Like Phase is hands down, in my opinion, the best invention to club DJing that there ever has been. Like it's the most simple thing. Like it wasn't steady at first, but now that it's steady and all the kinks are worked out, like I live and die by Phase. Like I
Really?
still prefer to play. Oh yeah, bro. Like, and I love CDJs. Like I like CDJs for the fact that you can do your own transitions. Like there's definitely a lot more you can do on CDJs, but like I don't consider myself a purist. I just like the feel of vinyl and just like rocking a party and like seeing the record spin and like when you touch it, like how it like gives that little like that resistance. Anyways, anyway, listen, I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the
no, it's
truth.
no, it is. There's something like aesthetically pleasing about
Right,
that. And I don't know if it's
right.
like a whole like size matters thing, Like I don't know. I guess, because it's bigger, people are just like, wow.
Yeah.
So wait, you started where did you go to school at?
Utah Valley University, aka
Okay.
UVU,
UVU.
Wolverines.
Okay. And then what fraternity were you in?
I was a Kappa Sigma.
At what point did you get like a day job or did you just go straight from undergrad into full-time DJing? Like how did that work?
So I as I was DJing, I met some people who worked in radio.
Hmm.
And at the time I was DJing, going to school, and like DJing was like, bro, like it. I was working a job at this pizza spot, and then my first like job drop DJing was at a bowling alley, and like they would let me bring my controller in, and they were like, "Dog, you don't have to do this," but I was like, "No, I'm going." It was called Fat Cats, and I'm like, "Dog, no, I'm going to bring my controller in, and I'm going to DJ." But then I was doing more house parties and stuff on the weekend, so I stopped doing that. And then from the house parties, I met a few people who were into the radio stuff, and then like they they kind of just like let me tag along and like shadow them for like a good year and some change before like I kind of became a full-time DJ. But like I've always, up until I would say about 6 years ago, I had a full-time like job on the side as far as like
Oh,
so like I would still be DJing Fridays and Saturdays, but I was also working, like I think when in fact when I was working with heavy hits, bro, I was also working for IKEA.
really?
So, bro, yes, like
Really?
I was putting in 35 hours a week at IKEA on top of DJing full time, on top of blogging for IKEA, bro. This is facts.
How's the discount if you work at IKEA? Is it nice?
It's terrible, bro. You don't get a discount. You don't get a discount. If anybody is listening to this, do not work at IKEA.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, listen. No, no, no. You think it's like, oh, IKEA, great, Swedish meatballs, bro. You're tired of Swedish meatballs by like a month into it, and then on top of, I work the returns counter, bro. So like,
Okay.
pe- people are just so disrespectful. But I also feel like it's important for people, like dealing with people at the returns counter ain't shit to dealing with drunk people. You know what I'm saying? In a club, I can handle a drunk chick requesting Bad Bunny. I
Yeah.
can't deal with Karen whose two children are screaming because they've been in line for 30
Yeah.
minutes. They're hungry and
Hmm.
she wants to return a pillow that's a year old that her child just threw up on. Oh, I still have the receipt. Bitch, it's a year old. Like, hey, you can't return it.
So
Yeah.
you did like the in betweener kind of thing, and then you made the jump.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you recommend that to people, like as like the do the in betweener thing, and then like cut a few hours of sleep out here and there, and then make that jump?
Definitely. I would, and I, you know, I like my route because it also, it allowed me, for me, I wanted to make sure I had every piece of equipment that I needed, you know what I'm saying, to get
Mm.
the job done. So like I knew that, you know, my mixer, which I had for like ever, was gonna die soon. So all right,
Okay.
I gotta make sure I'm working because at the time, like when you're coming up, you're only opening money. The opening money isn't the same as the headliner money. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or other venues might not pay whatever. So like you're not playing the top venues right away in your career. Is essentially what I'm saying. So like I would definitely recommend that because like for me it was like I was able to save up my money and like buy the things that I needed to buy to put myself into position to where like all right, bet I don't need to worry about, you know, if my gear is gonna break down. And I would also recommend, like as cool as it is to buy things used, buy things new when you can because of the warranty. You don't want to have, like, if you're gonna go off by yourself, you don't want to be worried about like if this breaks down. Like, nah, like if it breaks down, I want to be able to take this to Guitar Center and be like, yo, this is broke, I need another one. You know what I'm saying? And then they
Yeah.
swap it out. I mean, obviously that's not how Guitar Center works, we know that.
Yeah.
But like, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
so yeah, definitely I would say like get to that point to where like you're making more money on DJing than you are with your day job, you know, and then you're good because then that'll allow you to make more money and be able to do more things. But you know, and I guess really just have a plan.
Kind of explain how you got the opening stuff, because you kind of elaborated on that a little bit. Like you had some
Hmm.
mentors and stuff. Who were your like mentors?
So there were a few guys locally who like really showed me a lot. There was this one guy, his name is DJ Del Maggio. Like he was the guy who told me, hey, if you want to be taken more serious, you've got to get out. Like you've got to really learn how to DJ. You know what I'm saying? As far as like getting on turntables or getting on CDJs. And then there was another guy. His name was DJ Jarvicious, and like he was the guy who got me in the radio. I started off interning for him as as a promotions assistant for our alternative station.
Okay.
But he was also DJing 3 or 4 nights a week. And DelMaggio and Jarvicious, they actually had a Thursday night at this old club down here. It's actually torn down now. They put apartments over it. But at this old club where they had a country night on one side where there was line dancing and all this shit, but then on the other side they had a hip hop open format night. So I would come up and I would get to open for these guys and like get to watch them and like get to see what they were doing. And then through me doing stuff through the fraternities, we had another chapter up here in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah, and I met a bunch of there was another Kappa Sigma chapter up there, so I started DJing for those guys, and then I got connected with other fraternities, and then this one specific Halloween, I was DJing, and this guy named his name was Don, and he ran the venue that they rented out, and he was like, "You're really dope. I need a DJ for my Friday nights," and that was kind of like my very, very, very first residency, and it was this 18 plus gay club, and it was the funnest shit ever, bro. I promise you. No, listen, I promise, and I'm so grateful for it. And like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's strange or whatever, blah blah blah. I'm like, that night taught me how to play for people who aren't my friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because like as DJs, it's really easy for us to get into this comfort zone of like, oh well, all my friends are gonna show up. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm straight. All my friends are straight. They're not gonna show up to a gay club, bro. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
not. So you can't. So all of a sudden, like that clutch of having those guys there is non-existent. So
yeah, and it's not like when you're doing the. Like when you're DJing for your friends, like I know this too. You're DJing for your friends. There's this kind of like cushion of like, oh, I know you. Like it doesn't even matter what you play. Like you're still my boy or something like that. But like when you're doing some random like spot and no one there, and I'm sure when we get to like the out of town stuff, like you can elaborate on more. Like no one knows who you are. I mean, unless they're like there to see you DJ. Yes, that's different. But the larger sum, you have to figure out how to work that and figure out what they like. Like you already know what your friends like. It's just it's a very
your friends are a cheat code.
It's a good like back burner. Like it's a good place to start for sure. So you went from the opening stuff, and then would you say radio is when you started getting into places like Sky and other big spots in the city?
So yes and no. So Sky kind of came about. Like radio helped me. So radio really helped me learn how to become a more solid DJ. In the fact of when you're mixing on radio, and anyone who's ever mixed on radio, do you mix on radio?
No.
So like what mixing on radio is a lot like radio is very structured. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who's ever mixed on radio knows what I'm talking about. You have to play songs in a certain order, right? Meaning like familiar, least familiar, more familiar, XYZ, blah, 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 blah. So like radio kind of helped me like learn how to structure a night, so I'm not playing all unfamiliar shit. Just because like the newest Megan Thee Stallion just came out, it might be hot to you, but like to the person in the club, they might hear it, but they might not fuck with it. They still are on the old Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I'm saying? So like radio kind of like helped me. Like I'm not gonna say like tame myself a little bit, but like that's kind of like what it did. But for Sky, how it kind of happened is I knew a friend. I met this. So let me rewind. So so there was this guy, and we're still homies to this day. His name is Asher. Goes by Everett. You know Everett. I don't know, but he makes music, and he knew some people who was doing the booking there. And on their Saturday nights, it's an open format night, but every other night of the week, it's EDM. It's like trap and house, and it goes off. But they had been going through people they had nobody to really open on Saturday nights. Like the guys that they were going through, like they weren't that good. So I mean, not talking shit. That's just this. I'm just repeating what I was told.
Yeah.
So like,
no, you're the messenger. I hear you.
Yeah, like I'm just the messenger. But so an opportunity arose where they were like, "Hey, can you come through and open?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, bro." And I'll never forget it. Like, because it's the high end club, bro. I show up in these dress shoes and these jeans and like this fucking like plaid purple and black. Like I have the photo somewhere. Nervous as shit, bro. Like nervous as shit. But I killed it. And then it was like, all right, we'll have you back and like next time. So, it was a consistent thing. But once again, my education by this time I had already played so many different venues. I'd played different spots like there was a spot in Park City I was playing at the time called The Cabin. I was doing that. I was playing I was playing this like bar in Draper, Utah called Donkey Tales. And I stayed there for like a year and a half, bro. It's like Cougarville, USA, bro. My education, bro. But but that spot was different because I learned so much about older music. You know what I'm saying? But then you mix that with like the gay club I was playing on Friday nights versus my random spots that I were playing during the week. Like my music was I was playing a little bit of everything. So then when the opportunity to play at Sky came about, it was like, all right, bet. Because when you play open format, you kind of got to be able to touch on a little bit of everything, like play some house music, play some hip hop, but not too much hip hop, play some twerk music, play some rock music here and there. Like I don't play that much rock music, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's so like through my experiences, I was able to deliver at Sky, but like deliver on a consistent basis. So it was one of those things to where I went from playing 1 month, once every other month to once a month to twice a month. And then it was like, oh shit, like you're on every Saturday. But once again, like that's just like kind of how it snowballed. And then like into the out of town thing, like I'm grateful for all of those experiences, but especially my Sky experience because I'm opening for national DJs now, right? I'm not opening for locals at Sky.
Yeah, okay.
I'm opening for guys who play in, I'm saying New York, Florida, Chicago, Vegas, LA, San Diego, all these different markets. So like for me, I wasn't there like getting drunk, at least not at first. So like, at least not at first.
Yeah.
I was there watching, and I still watch to this day. But like when you're around that many national DJs, you know what I'm saying, on like that big a level for like that long of a time, you start to pick up on how they DJ a room, and that in turn like kind of like helped me separate myself from everybody else in this market. At least I feel like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because then you started to get the other experiences from other cities without having to go to those cities necessarily. You always had it in like there.
Exactly. And then because I had built this relationship with these guys, hey man, I'm in Vegas, just me. Can I come and hang out? I don't want to drink any of your alcohol. I just want to come and watch you play or whatever, And if you're cool, most guys like 8 out of 10 times they'll be like, yeah, pull up, yeah, come watch, yeah, XYZ. And like you'll be amazed like what you learn by just watching, Or there would be times where like I would just go because I live in Salt Lake City and like a flight to Vegas is like $50 round trip.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah, bro. Like living in Utah, like low key a cheat code. I can get anywhere on the West Coast for like less than $200. It's incredible. I would go during the week because at the time, like my only gig was really like radio, and it's not like I had to. I was a part time. I was a street team mixer, so like I was mixing remotes, which were primarily on weekends. Or when I was mixing, I only mixed Thursday and Friday, so I had really Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had to be back, or if I had a Wednesday gig, it was still Sunday to Tuesday. That's nothing because that flight's 45 minutes. So like sometimes I would just go and not even like tell DJs I was there, and like I would just go and just watch and just listen and just try to like understand like, oh, okay, he played this song here. I wonder why he did that. Or why she did that, XYZ, like I would try to like figure these things out and like not necessarily pick up on what they were playing, but more or less watch what they were playing at the certain times of night, you know what I'm saying? And then like really see what they would follow records up by. And like, it's almost like, fuck it, it's doing your homework,
Yeah.
And it's not something that like a lot of people do. Like I've watched DJs like take rooms that are just stale, flat, maybe 50, 60 people in them motherfuckers, and then turn that shit up like it was 100 people in it, because they're just that good between their mic work and their song selection, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a lot of, like, for me, like that's a lot of the stuff that I would do, and I still do that to this day, to be honest with you.
So it's because you were obviously like crushing it in your market. You had like a progression. Mm-hmm. So what got you outside of state lines?
Really, the consistency with my sets, being a good person, and like I'm not gonna say like knowing people, but fuck it, like you really got to know people in the industry, right? And like if you're known as like a good person, and like at least I feel like I'm known as a good person, but like and you're a good DJ, and like you have a good track record, like somebody somewhere give you an opportunity, you know? Like for me, like my opportunity, like my first real out of town opportunity was Idaho, was Boise, Idaho. I play there like once a month, once every other month. But pre-COVID, it was once a month, bro. Me and the boy, Boise is a different city.
Really?
I love, like, Boise is an amazing city.
Well, because it's a college town too, though. Like Boise State's massive.
Exactly. Yo. Boise State is massive, and the college is right downtown.
Yeah.
So, but no, so like Boise, for me, it just kind of happened. I reached out to him and was like, "Hey, this is what I do." You know, it actually worked out. I was going to be up there on a weekend for like a wedding or something like that. I was doing something up there, and I was like, "Hey, I'm up here for the weekend. This is who I am. This is what I do. Would love to come and rock, you know, XYZ. I understand if you have your residence." They're like, "Oh yeah, sure, come through, whatever." Blah blah blah. Murdered it. When can we have you back?
So wait, so you were going? Were you a guest for a wedding, or were you like already DJ? You were a guest. You were a guest at a wedding. And you just slid into like the Instagram DMs of the place, of the business?
Yeah. It was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in town. This is where I'm from. Here's who I'm open for." But like you said, by this time I'd already played around Salt Lake City. So like people saw that, like, oh shit, like he's not just, you know, some punk kid trying to like get one over on us. He's an actual DJ. He can actually. So then like they were like, "All right, bet, like cool, like here you are, like we'll give you a shot. You're already in town." Like they didn't have to get my hotel or anything, because once again I told them like I'm already gonna be up there. Let me just show you what I can do, and if it goes anywhere else, great, it goes somewhere. But if it doesn't, cool. Like thanks for the opportunity. And like, you know, one of my best friends, he was the GM there. He's not there anymore, but like his name is Ryan. Like he's the first guy to like give me that opportunity. Like that's my boy.
Yeah.
You know. Like, I mean, more than that, like more than just because he gave me that opportunity, but just because like he's just a all around good dude.
Mm-hmm.
But from like doing the Boise thing, like it kind of like that kind of prepared me to like do bigger opportunities. And like I always tell anybody, like if you want to have opportunities, you just gotta ask, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you know somebody who knows someone somewhere, you know. We all do, but a lot of people, I feel like, think they're ready for that, think they're ready for an opportunity, but they're really not. You know what I'm saying? Like an opportunity will always present itself. Does that make sense?
Like if you're ready, it'll happen.
Right.
Like you had put the miles in, and some people think they put in the miles when they actually haven't.
Right. Like you really gotta like understand. But like once again, I look back at like my experiences, like from like by the time I got in the sky, I probably had to be like 24, 25. And at that, where I'm in Utah, and like Utah kind of moves, life moves a little bit quicker in the sense of people get married, people have kids, all this shit by like 23, 24. So my friends are done coming out at this point because they got kids, like they ain't doing shit. So like I look back at my experiences of like, you know, not having my friends around, but like forcing to like read the room and putting in those miles of like being an opener for, you know what I'm saying, 3 to 4 to 5 years, and like seeing everything and learning how to read a room. That really prepared me for this opportunity in Boise. And like when I got to Boise, like just that experience in traveling alone, like taught me a lot, you know, like because of Boise, I might not like, I really don't travel with my homies that much because like that's something that like people don't think about. It's like I love my homies, But at the same time, as much as people think our job is a party, it's an actual job, and it needs to be treated as such, you know? So that means like not getting so fucked up to where you can't play. Like, don't get me wrong, I've been there. You know what I'm saying? Like we've every DJ at one point who drinks, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Has like been there where like but once again, I've been there. You know what I'm saying? Missing flights. I've been there. You know, like having homies too drunk or fucked up at the club. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? But like it was spots like Boise that kind of let me like sharpen my tools a little bit, you know? So when like the bigger opportunities came, like, you know, I played in Vegas back in December, right? It was a support set, first time in Vegas. It was cool, but because I had like been through everything I was going through, I was like, all right, bet. None of my homies are coming to this gig. You know what I'm saying? I'm not drinking till after my set type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Or like, even when I go to San Diego, like it's the same thing. I'll link up with my homies in the city, but like, as far as like, nah, don't fly out. You know what I'm saying?
Stay
like,
home.
Nah, actually, I mean, and you can come out, but you're not allowed in the DJ booth type of shit. Yeah. And like, you gotta like, I mean, it's fucked up, but like, you kind of gotta like, not be afraid to hurt your friends' feelings. And if they really give a fuck about you, they'll understand.
Yeah,
you know?
They'll hear you out. So who hit you up for that then?
So I'm on Blackout Artists, which is a DJ management company out of Vegas, and it was a similar thing. So I was actually I was already in Vegas working for the Pac-12. So I DJ'd some events for the Pac-12 football title game.
Yep.
Because I DJ for the University of Utah football team, Go Utes out here. And it was just a situation where I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in Vegas. If anything's available, let me know. Once again, ask. You know, ask. Fuck it. You know, I felt like I had a good opportunity just because of, you know, the work I feel like I've put in. You know, and asking ye shall receive.
Well, okay, so it sounds Bible, like you. Right? It sounds like you've always shot your shot, and it always like makes though. Have you ever shot your shot and like totally bricked it?
Definitely, bro. Okay. All the fucking time. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Everybody, that's the other side of like this game. You don't hear about people's failures, bro. There's so many clubs I've reached out to. Hey, I want to come out there, XYZ, blah blah blah. Like, you know, in other surrounding cities, and you never hear anything back. You know, but you don't shoot like Jordan did not make 100% of his shots. Kobe, rest in peace. He didn't make 100% of his shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, people think that, you know, people are afraid of being turned down. And as long as you're not afraid of being turned down and like not afraid to keep shooting, bro, like eventually something's going to pop for you, you know? Yeah. And what you want, like, will come. But yeah, it was a situation where like I just reached out to him and was like, hey, like I want to be in town. If there's anything available, because like booking agent, my manager, she's always been like, hey, like if you're ever in town, let me know. So I'm like, all right, bet. I'm in town, so I let her know. Okay. And then how did you link up with Blackout Artists then? It was a situation where I was DJing a lot. I mean, I still DJ a lot of Sky, but I was DJing. It was October 2019, just before pandemic. And they were adding more DJs, and somebody put like a few of the DJs put in work for me on the roster. It's like, hey, we know this dude. He's been putting in work in his city. You know, he would represent us. And you know, I got the call. Hey, you're on the team. You know, XYZ, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, boom boom boom, and then it happened. And then was it like later COVID hit? I guess to put it all in a bow, right? Yeah. So it seems like the big takeaway from all this, like that people don't really talk about enough, is that like it seems like you would always ask. You'd always like put something out there. Like for me, I know that's something that I don't really do that much, and I know there's a lot of DJs. It seems like you'll put out like 100 messages, but you'll get one back, whereas like other people aren't doing that. You know what I mean? Like when you were starting out, like right now you have this, like, you already have this like status and like you have those like notches on your belt. So like you don't have to really do that anymore. But
like when you're starting, you definitely, it seemed like you were really casting out that net like everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I would say, definitely shoot your shot, but I would also say, like, make sure like the curtains match the drapes. Um, and like the reason why I say that is because like I don't know where that came from.
No, you're
but,
fine. No, make sure it makes
but like
sense.
I'm trying to make this make sense. It's like don't buy 10,000 followers for Instagram. You know what I'm saying? And all these likes for Instagram to make yourself look bigger than you are. I don't have 10,000 followers, but I'm consistent with my DJ sets. You know what I'm saying? So like when I say make sure your curtains match the drapes, it's like, all right, bet. Like make sure that like what people say about you or like is true. Like because a lot of people will. I'm not gonna say risk their careers, but like for one of my OGs to co-sign me like the way they did, like I know I have to make sure that like my set is proper. But what does that mean? So like doing my research on the room or like practicing or just like actually taking my time or like spending time opening. Like nowadays, like I feel like social media has a way of making people think that, and I said this, I was actually on another podcast earlier this week, but social media has a way of making people think that they need things right now, right this second. That's not true. Enjoy the time and put in the work. Take your wins as much as you take your losses. So you're going to take a lot more losses than you take wins in the beginning. Anybody will tell you that. Like any DJ that you see winning now,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, has taken their fair share of losses, and they still are taking their losses. They're just not like, they just don't post about it because once again, nobody posts their losses. But I don't really view losses as a thing. It's more of a lesson, if you ask me.
Yep.
And like kind of just pull something from every single situation that you can, and just keep it moving. But once again, like never be afraid to like stop learning. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like just know your shit and like just be a good person. Like
yeah. Okay, so what's your social handles on everything?
Follow me Instagram and Twitter, Bangarang the DJ, www.djbangarang.com. All my links to like all my music and stuff is there. So please check it out. I've got some remixes coming out with some singers and rappers here in Salt Lake City, coming out on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. In fact, I've got some original music already up on those as well. Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, just stuff I've done with artists here in Salt Lake. And, like that is my next goal is to like now like I'm doing radio and all this other shit, but like I want to make a living, producing music and DJing.
Yeah.
I feel like that for me is just like that next level of like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's your next career step. Yeah.
Right.
It's the next thing for you to conquer.
Right. And like one thing I want to do, and like it's like written down on like my vision board and stuff. Is I like eventually what I want to get to is because I have a few friends who like work for DJ City or work for headliners, and there's you who work for heavy hits, but like I also want to get into like a role where like I'm like an official remixer or like, what I'm saying, bootlegger or something for like a record pool, because it's like, I yeah, like that's just like what I want to do. Like I like, because my friends like make like good enough money. You know what I'm saying? They're like compare that like with the gigs and stuff that like it balances out,
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of like not even kind of, that is like my next move. So
nice. Absolutely. Well, if there's anyone that can do it, I'm damn sure it's going to be you, to be honest. So I mean, I see you killing it. You're moving outside the city, dude. I have nothing but faith in you, to be honest. So I mean, I appreciate your time as always, and then. I mean, shit, there's only one thing else left to do than to say peace out, bro. And you need to send me a link to that sweater, by the way, bro. Like, I need to get that. Like, what the fuck?
Let me see. I don't know if
I'm so diehard Marvel. It's ridiculous.